Hey everyone, today I have Dr. Jen Faber with me today. And the reason why is she just released on March 6th her new book, and that is The 90-Day Life. And it's so incredible because she teaches you in this book and a matter of videos and a workbook on how to live more in 3 months than you have in 3 years. And the reason why this hits home for me is because, I went through my issues and my illness, and I, woke up with this debilitating condition out of the blue. I lost my vision, I couldn't walk, and all this stuff. And I thought, gosh, this life really is super, super precious. And I need to live it more now than I ever have before. So I got in with Dr. Jen, and Dr. Jen's here today to talk to you a little bit more about the book and what came out of it, why she thought of it, how she came out with this amazing workbook behind it. And I'm super excited to have her here. So Dr. Jen, hi!
Hi. It is so awesome to be here. First, thank you for the opportunity, Chantel. I know we're like firecrackers of joy, so this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. It's crazy because ever since we connected a few months ago, I've just been one of your biggest fans because you have such a positive, bright outlook and perspective and so much to bring to the table. So can you tell us a little bit more about the 90-Day Life?
Yes, absolutely. So what inspired all of it is it was a point in my own personal journey where I felt completely stuck and boxed in my own life. And I've never liked being in a box. I've always liked doing things unconventionally. And I found myself on a somewhat unconventional path, being in the complementary medicine field as a chiropractor, but I wasn't enjoying any part of who I was. I was doing good in practice, but I didn't feel like I was thriving. I lost my joy. I lived in a cool area, but I didn't have fun there. I didn't have a lot of friends. I was very focused on my work. Things were really off skew and out of balance. And while things were good, I was a good doctor, I'm a good doctor. And a lot of things were good. I didn't feel great. I didn't feel like I was thriving, and I didn't feel like I was me. And I realized that something was completely off. I wasn't living into who Jen was. I've had this, doctor hat on for so long. As much as I love my patients, I realized there was more to me than I was letting out. And I think we all face that sometimes, where periods in our life we live into one role so heavily that we don't know how to create a better balance or learn who we are beneath those labels. So I literally, Chantel, stripped my whole life away. I sold my successful practice, it was a 6-figure practice. I got rid of it. I sold it, let it all go, to become a self-taught entrepreneur because I knew I wanted to make a bigger impact and inspire people who were feeling burned out like I was in practice. And as I started to learn that, I realized I didn't enjoy where I lived. So I thought, I'm going to sell everything I own, and I'm going to live out of a suitcase, and I'm going to travel around the country, and I'm going to just figure this out and figure out, who am I as Jen? Who's this girl that I've forgotten? And I realized I've been saying no to so much stuff. There have been so many goals and fears that have held me back, and adventures I've wanted to try, and things I've wanted to do that I just said no to because I was stuck on this path. You go to school and you get your job and you move to do your job, and then you start your business, and you're just on this path plugging along. And I thought, okay, something's got to change. What if I took the next 90 days of my life and I said, how much could I overcome? How many fears could I overcome? How many goals could I achieve? How many adventures could I experience? How many ways can I give love? How many things can I do? And so I set up and I did my own 90-day life challenge and documented it along the way, which became the framework for this book. Because what I realized is I was saying no to myself, and I realized that along the way, I think a lot of people do too. They say no to what they want in life. They say no because they think they can put it off till a later time. And so for me, this is about teaching people to stop taking time for granted. And it's come a lot from my own personal journeys and figuring that out.
That's amazing. And I got to take a peek at this workbook that you created, right? And I got to go through it step by step and chapter by chapter and really like dive in. And how did you figure out the framework behind all of this?
Yeah. So, I've been a coach and a mentor for the past several years, working with professionals, working with people burned out. And I really like to teach. I had a coach who would use this phrase, freedom in a framework. And I love teaching frameworks. I love teaching, like, what are core concepts for people to follow. And as I was kind of bumbling through my own 90-day journey, I realized there were themes coming up that were important to me. And I was like, what are these central themes that if I'm trying to rebuild my life in 90 days and live without regrets, what are those things? And I realized Courage is a theme. Seeking adventure is a theme. Practicing gratitude is a theme. Erasing resentment is a theme. Finding novelty and spontaneity in our life and not getting stuck in routine is a theme. And I found 9 themes in my own journey. So I created a structure where in the book I carry the reader through 9 stages every 10 days over the course of 90 days. So you focus on one stage at a time to nourish and enrich an area of your life that you've probably left behind. So you can find more purpose, you can feel more love with your relationships and who's in your life, and feel more at peace with your present so you know how to move forward. So I really like to walk through it step by step, because I think here's the thing. I think sometimes when we're looking at like a New Year's resolution or making a big change, what happens? We set this big goal, we're like, this is what I want to do, and then they freak out because we feel really overwhelmed. We think we have to do all of this stuff and make all of these changes and all of these new habits, and we're great for a couple of days, and then we go back to eating the burgers and the pizza and all that stuff when we really wanted to just lose the weight. So this is really about, first, how to uncover the junk and the head trash that's held you back, how to unlock some of the priorities and things that you've put on hold, but then also how to work through it in a very step-by-step fashion so you don't feel overwhelmed, but you actually see it as a really systematic step-by-step journey that you know what you're focusing on and why and who you want to be by day 90. So that's how I came to put it all together.
That's awesome. So how can you capsulate the idea of impermanence?
You know, for me, here's what's interesting, and this is where we have cool conversation. Like, impermanence, for some people like yourself, it stares you in the face, right? Something happens to you. A change in health, a loss of a job, a loss of a loved one, right? I think for me, what I see that each of us has an opportunity, and it's something we need to do in our lives, is actually choose impermanence. Choose urgency as a way of life. A lot of times we wait until crap happens, and then we're like, oh, I've wasted so much time. I should have been doing this. Oh, I'd give anything to feel like this again, or do this again, or be with this person again. And what I realized when I sold everything I owned, traveling out of a suitcase, and I'm hopping around from one place every 4 to 6 weeks, right? I knew I'm literally ending a chapter of my life. New place, new location, new people. I realized I had to maximize on my time, because before I knew it, I'd be out of that place and I'd be off to somewhere else. And regardless of the lifestyle we live, it doesn't have to mean you be nomadic. This book is not about teaching people how to be nomadic. It's about teaching people, how do you choose impermanence consciously, and how do you choose impermanence purposefully, so that you actually look at every day from a place of urgency, not fear, but where you're really using time as your ally. And I think a lot of people will misconstrue impermanence as, I got to get a bunch of stuff done, and here's a bucket list, and I'm going to try to cross all this off. And you end up just feeling more pressured and stressed, which we have enough of that in our day-to-day. This is about being very intentional about looking at what are those deeper, soul-nourishing things in our life that we keep telling we'll get to on Friday or when we're retired.
Yeah.
How do you choose that now? How do you take action on that now? How do you start to make momentum towards that now? That's what I believe impermanence is about. It's not even so much getting it done, but it's taking that action and intention to getting it done because it's important to you. That's how I would define it.
I love that. So you have, one of the things that you focus on is defeating self-sabotage. And I feel like, especially as women, we do that all the time, is we always feel like we have to bite onto every single thing that comes across us, right? We want to do everything, accomplish everything. And even, men, anybody who's driven for success, they have to deal with that, defeating that self-sabotage in order to come success. So that is a big piece that I took away from your book. And also, last but not least, the last thing that I wanted to attack right away is the art of getting selfish. So we talked a little bit about this before we jumped on this, but this is my biggest weakness, right? Is being so selfless that you always put everybody else first. And that means you put yourself and your goals last, right? So can you tell me a little bit more about the art of getting selfish and, getting your goals, achieving everything that you want?
Yeah, absolutely. And first, what I'll say is that I think a lot of people feel so burned. I mean, 1 out of 2 people in the planet are burned out. 1 out of 2 people are dissatisfied in some area of their life. Like that's billions of people, right? It could be work, relationships, health, you name it. And I believe one of the big reasons why that's happening is that we've become a culture of obligation, of things outside of ourselves, right? We have people to tend to, responsibilities to tend to, emails to tend to, 1,000 social media channels to tend to, and so many things are outside of ourselves that those thin slices of time to carve out for us and getting quiet and focusing on things we love and doing things just for ourselves is becoming a rare commodity. And we're leaving ourselves behind as we're trying to go through this rat race called life. So for me, and similar to you, right, we're people-pleasing people of the planet. We like to make people happy and nurture people and take care of others. And then you wake up at some point realizing, why am I sad? Why do I feel resentful? Why do I feel ticked off and angry when I'm usually really happy? And then you realize it's because you've let yourself go. I think it's why the midlife crisis happens. Heck, millennials now are being shown to actually, there's the new quarter life crisis. 20-year-olds are having the midlife crisis.
I'm hitting that. I hit that.
Which is bananas because that's when we should have our whole lives ahead of us. So for me, in chapter 8, I love defining the art of getting selfish because it's not about the egocentric, it's all about me selfish, which I think also happens in our culture. Selfies obsession and look at what I'm doing, right? Yeah. No. This is about what are the things that are distractions in your life that you should actually be saying no to that are soaking up your precious time? And what are the things that in the book I actually call them the self-shifters? What's the one thing in your life that if you shift more energy and more time towards, it can instantly bring more joy into your life? Mm-hmm. And by shifting more energy into something that's going to instantly elevate your joy and elevate how you're spending your time, here's what's cool about this. 2 things happen. 1, you're going to start to give yourself probably some much needed self-love because you probably haven't been taking care of yourself and spending time on you. But the cool thing too is that people benefit from it too. If you are happier because you're spending more time on you, if you're starting to put yourself first, if you start to feel more energized and invigorated because you're doing things that nourish your soul and what you want out of life, you can give more back. So that's the cool thing about people, especially if they've been stuck in that pattern like we have in the past, where it's I need to nurture and take care of others. It stokes that fire too. So everyone wins. It's just an awesome domino effect.
Right. Totally. And I feel like every time you feel like you're on the right track, you always need that little push. You always need that reminder to keep going, right? To stay focused and to keep learning and keep growing. So I really appreciate you sticking with me here on this little video today and talking about your book. I want to talk about how amazing you are to have let me choose my favorite charity. Can you talk more about this?
Yeah, so I wanted to create an opportunity for people that are supporting me to give back to a cause that you care about. So here's what I'm going to be doing. For every book that is sold off of the link that you'll be sharing to your community, I'm going to be donating $1 for every book to the Chasing Hope Foundation. So I can give back to that foundation, and I know it's something that you really care about. And also, for your community, I'm also going to be giving to anyone who downloads a copy or buys a paperback. They're going to get the full audiobook for free. They're going to get the 60-page workbook for free. They're going to get a 4-part PDF life satisfaction assessment for free. And they're going to get a 3-part video training series on how to navigate your life, all for free when they get a copy. So share more about Chasing Hope too. Talk about what that means to you.
Oh, Chasing Hope is amazing because that I advocate for people who are overcoming different limitations and different challenges. And Chasing Hope focuses on children and teens who are battling mental conditions, whether it's depression or bipolar or autism, different mental challenges that they have to deal with regularly. And they have a national reach, and they mean so much to me, and they're near and dear to my heart. And I'm so thankful for you to be doing this. This is incredible. Just an amazing way. You're not only giving back to my charity of choice for this, but you're also giving back to the entire world who has the option to pick up your book, read it, go through these workbooks and make more out of themselves, get more out of life, and live a healthier, happier life, not just for themselves, but everybody that is surrounding them. So Thank you so, so, so much for being on the call with me. Everybody, get Dr. Jen's book now with the link here in the comments and in this post. And like she said, $1 from every single sale is going to go to Chasing Hope Foundation. So we really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you.